the Japanese sword, representing the samurai culture of Japan, boasts a history of over 1,000 years, frequently appearing in ancient Japanese history. Among them, several famous swords have played significant roles at pivotal moments in history, and their stories are passed down alongside the legendary tales of emperors and samurai. Among the many renowned swords, those that have been passed down within the Imperial Family are referred to as Gyobutsu. In this chapter, we will introduce 3 of the most famous swords considered Gyobutsu. Number 1. Tsurumaru Kuninaga. Tsurumaru Kuninaga is a tachi made by the swordsmith Gojo Kuninaga toward the end of the Heian period. It features a beautifully strong curve, representing the finest masterpiece among the extant works signed by Kuninaga. The name Tsurumaru is said to be derived from a crane circle pattern that was on a lost mounting. This sword has long been recognized as a famous blade and was the favored sword of the warlord Hojo Saratoki. There is an intriguing anecdote associated with this sword. In the 13th century, the real power in Japan was in the hands of the Kamakura shogunate's top, Hojo Saratoki. He took on the regency at the young age of 14 and led the government as the foremost authority in Japan. At that time, Japan faced 2 invasions by the Mongol forces, which greatly destabilized the domestic situation. Amid this turmoil, a significant conflict developed between 2 powerful supporters of the Hojo family, Taira no Yonitsuna and Adachi Yasumuri. Taira plotted against Adachi by falsely informing Hojo Saratoki that Adachi aspired to become the shogun. Believing this, Hojo Saratoki conspired with Taira to destroy the Adachi family. As a result of Taira's preemptive attack, Adachi was defeated, and the Adachi family was completely annihilated. During this conflict, the family's treasured sword, Tsurumaru Kuninaga, was buried along with the family. As time passed, Hojo Saratoki developed a deep desire for the Adachi family's treasured Tsurumaru Kuninaga. He came up with the idea to dig up the grave where the sword was buried to take it for himself. He went to the cemetery, exhumed the Adachi family's grave, and took the sword into his own hands. He cherished the sword throughout his life, but in his later years, he succumbed to alcohol and passed away at the young age of 41. After his death, the sword was dedicated to a shrine, where it was adorned with the crane circle pattern on its scabbard. It appears that, at that time, it was customary for the shogunate to include the crane circle pattern when dedicating swords to shrines. In the 16th century, the sword came into the hands of Japan's greatest warlord of the time, Oda Nobunaga, and subsequently passed through the hands of several influential figures. After changing owners numerous times, the sword was finally presented to Emperor Meiji by the Datte family in 1901. Many of the swords considered to be of significant heritage play roles in court rituals, and this sword is used during the New Year's Gantansai ceremony held at the Imperial Palace on January 1st, treated as an important treasure within the Imperial family. Today, it is managed by the Imperial Household Agency and is rarely seen by the public. The blade length of this sword is approximately 31 inches. It is known for its high curvature and flexible blade, with a sparkling grain pattern on the blade that is considered exceptionally beautiful. Despite being a work from about 1,000 years ago, it is also highly valued for its excellent state of preservation. Of the few remaining works by Kuninaga, only 4 are known, and researchers at the Tokyo National Museum consider this sword to be the finest among them. Number 2. Ichigo Hitofuri. Ichigo Hitofuri is a masterpiece by Yoshihiro Awataguchi, one of the 3 most excellent swordsmiths known as Tenka Sansaku in history. The name Ichigo Hitofuri signifies a tachi, Japanese long sword, that Yoshihiro crafted as a once-in-a-lifetime endeavor, highlighting his predominant focus on making shorter swords. This naming reflects Yoshihiro's rarity in crafting such a distinguished tachi. Originally, this sword was passed down through the powerful Mori clan before being presented to Toyotomi Hideyoshi, where it then became one of Hideyoshi's most treasured swords. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a prominent warlord of the 16th century, is renowned for unifying Japan during its tumultuous period. Remarkably, Hideyoshi was born into a peasant and ashigaru, foot soldier, family, a rarity among daimyo and samurai, who typically hailed from warrior-class lineages. At the age of 15, declaring his ambition to become a samurai, Hideyoshi left his birthplace, eventually becoming a retainer of the warlord Oda Nobunaga and rising significantly in status. Following Nobunaga's death, Hideyoshi achieved the unification of Japan. On the path to unification, the Ichigo Hitofuri, presented by the Mori clan, became one of Hideyoshi's favorites. Known for his unparalleled love for swords, Hideyoshi collected famous swords from across the nation. By rewarding warriors who achieved military exploits with these prized blades, Japanese swords became symbols of status among samurai and nobility. Among the many renowned swords he owned, Hideyoshi cherished Ichigo Hitofuri the most, storing it in a special box named Ichi no Hako and safeguarding it carefully. In 1598, after Hideyoshi's death, a fierce struggle for power ensued across Japan to determine his successor. A tragic event for the sword occurred in 1615 during the historical battle known as the Siege of Osaka Summer Campaign, which erupted between the Tokugawa clan, aiming for control, and the Toyotomi clan without Hideyoshi. The battle led to the demise of the Toyotomi clan and the burning and fall of Osaka Castle, their stronghold. During this chaos, Ichigo Hitofuri, which had been carefully preserved inside Osaka Castle even after Hideyoshi's death, was also consumed by flames. Thus, the sword shared a tragic fate with the Toyotomi clan. Following the victory in the battle, which led to the unification under Tokugawa Ieyasu, numerous famous swords, including Ichigo Hitofuri, were discovered among the ruins of Osaka Castle. Concerned about the potential loss of these precious blades, Ieyasu decided to have Ichigo Hitofuri reforged. Subsequently, the sword was restored by the Tokugawa family's swordsmiths. After its restoration, Ichigo Hitofuri was passed down within the Tokugawa family and remained in their possession until the end of the Edo period. In 1863, the sword was presented to Emperor Komei by the then head of the Tokugawa family, marking its transition to a royal treasure. Since then, Ichigo Hitofuri has been inherited by successive emperors and remains a part of the imperial regalia to this day. Number 3. Kogarasu Maru. Kogarasu Maru is a sword believed to have been crafted by the legendary swordsmith Amakuni in Nara Prefecture during the mid-Heian period. It is also known as the oldest existing Japanese sword. In Japan, a law enacted in 701 required swordsmiths to inscribe their name on the tang of the swords they crafted. Amakuni, adhering to this law, inscribed his name on the tang and created a curved shinogi zukuri Japanese sword, leading to his reverence as the ancestor of the Japanese sword. The blade length of this sword is 24.8 inches with a curvature of 0.51 inches. The distinguishing feature of this sword lies in its shape. It was crafted during the transitional period from straight swords to curved swords, resulting in a double-edged tip rather than a single-edged one. This construction, designed for both stabbing and cutting, is said to be a pioneering design, with this sword being a representative example, hence also known as Kogarasu Maru style. The name Kogarasu Maru derives from a legend involving its owner, Emperor Kammu, who established Kyoto as the capital and built a vast city. One day, while gazing at the sky from the newly constructed southern palace, a giant three-legged crow appeared from between the clouds. This crow, serving the sun goddess Amaterasu, was known as Yatagarasu. As it flew over the palace, Emperor Kammu beckoned it with his scepter, and the crow descended in an arc before the throne. "I come bearing a sword on behalf of the Ise Grand Shrine," it declared, before taking flight again. Where the crow had been, a sword was left behind. Recognizing it as a rare masterpiece crafted by Amakuni, it was treasured as a divine gift for the protection of the realm and named Kogarasu Maru, meaning little crow, after the bird that delivered it. This sword re-emerged in history in the year 939 during the Tengyo Rebellion. It was bestowed upon Taira no Saramuri by the imperial court to defeat Taira no Masakado, who proclaimed himself king and established a new government. From then on, Kogarasu Maru was inherited as a treasured sword of the Taira clan and frequently mentioned in historical texts. In 1185, during the historic Battle of Dan-no-ura, the Taira clan was defeated, and it was said that Kogarasu Maru sank to the bottom of the sea along with them, becoming lost. However, as time passed, and during the Edo period, it was discovered that a sword named Kogarasu Maru was preserved in the house of a descendant of the Taira clan. In the 19th century, this sword was presented to Emperor Meiji. Today, it is treated as an imperial treasure, considered to be the Kogarasu Maru handed down from the Taira clan, and is preserved by the National Cultural Properties Organization. We hope you enjoyed this exploration into the world of Japanese swords. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content about the history of Japanese swords. Until next time, sayonara.